Telangana, post which I would request Honorable Minister to make his presentation. Thank you very much.
A story of triumphant progress, never witnessed by independent India, from an aspiring state to an inspiring role model. Telangana, a pioneer state in the forefront of exceptional growth, achieving an integrated holistic development. Spearheaded by a visionary who reinvented and reconstructed Telangana. A leader who understands the basic needs and requirements of the common people and delivers solutions that last for generations. A revolutionary who undertook a colossal endeavor of lifting a river to uplift the lives of millions of farmers and making them proud contributors to nation's growth. A reformer whose trend-setting new age welfare initiatives are socially and economically empowering millions, where dignity and prosperity for the downtrodden was a distant dream. An administrator who brought new reforms, creating efficient and effective governance for citizens. A statesman who invigorated Telangana's industrial progress through his path-breaking and innovative policies. A progressivist who made access to free world-class healthcare and quality education a reality for the poor. A representative who fostered an environment for culture and heritage to flourish. Shri K. Chandrasekhar Rao, the Honorable Chief Minister, a true trailblazer and the architect of Telangana's unprecedented development. Triumphant Telangana.
Excellencies, this is a diplomatic gathering, and I think it is no less apt to introduce our Honorable Minister as a brand ambassador of Telangana, the architect of happening Hyderabad and the face of triumphant Telangana. I have the pleasure of inviting Shri KT Ramarao Garu, Honorable Minister for IT, Electronics and Communication, Industries and Commerce, Municipal Administration and Urban Development. Sir, the floor is yours. So the presentation is here, sir.
Very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you, Jayesh. Thank you, Vishnu, for organizing this. To the ambassadors in the gathering, to the consul generals in the gathering, to the honorary consul generals in the gathering as well, I welcome you all to this beautiful city of Hyderabad. Before I start off with my quick presentation, let me just share a couple of thoughts. As diplomats, as ambassadors, as consul generals, and in various positions, I'm sure you meet people in public life, ministers, you meet prime ministers, you meet the chief ministers, you meet businessmen, and you meet people of various hues and shades across the spectrum in India when you're positioned here. One of the things I keep repeating wherever I go, especially because diplomats have a fixed stint, a tenure. You're here in the country for a few years, and then obviously you go wherever your job takes you. One of the things I keep hearing, because I've been a minister now representing the Industry and Commerce Department, the Information Technology Department for the last 8 years. Wherever I travel along with my team, one of the questions we keep getting is, this comparison that gets drawn between India and China. Because, both are large countries, similar size in terms of population. We are about 1.4 billion people. I think they are 1.43 billion or 1.44. And I'm sure India will, very soon, in the next few years, actually be the most populous nation in the world. So one of the things I keep hearing, for lack of information, for lack of understanding, I guess, is if China can get something done so quickly, why is it different in India, is what I keep getting asked. I urge all of you to kindly whenever you are faced with this question, because this is one thing that I have been saying all along. India and China, in fact, are very, very different in terms of how they are, perceived and how they are structured as well. India is a very heterogeneous, very diverse, very, very diverse country. In fact, if you ask me, India is more like Europe, a mini continent, so to speak, with so many different languages, so many cultures. Because if you travel the length and breadth of India, Jayesh was saying, the best way to understand India is to travel to the states. If you travel the length and breadth of the nation, you will realize and you will see that everything in India changes every 100 to 200 kilometers. The language, the culture, the dialect, the cuisine, the way people think, the way people dress, everything changes in India in every 100, 150 kilometers. In India, we have 22 official languages. We have more than 300 unofficial languages. In fact, we are so big, as you all know. Even the smallest of towns in India sometimes are possibly the largest in Europe or elsewhere, in terms of numbers, in terms of volumes. So the best way to understand India, if you ask me, because we are a federal republic and we have just completed 75 years of independence. If you ask me, the best way to understand India is to actually understand the federal structure of India. Because each state by itself is empowered to make all the important decisions with respect to investments. While the overall trade and foreign trade, and also tariff-related issues could be vested with Government of India, the fact is, the real action is in the states in India. Everything that matters when it comes to making an investment, land, cost of land, water, manpower, power, electricity, and everything else that is required, fiscal incentives, all of these are in the domain of the state. So I tell a lot of my friends, when I meet them, potential investors, about this old story that is narrated in Indian mythology. There was once upon a time an elephant and 8 blind men around it. All these blind men wanted to experience and understand what an elephant actually looks like, because they have never seen or they've never been able to feel one in their life. So they were all taken to a zoological park, and this is an elephant. They were all positioned at various points around the elephant in the room, in the zoo, in the den. Each of them felt one thing. One felt the trunk, another one felt the legs, another one felt the humongous body, another gentleman felt the tail, somebody else felt something else. But each of them, after the experience, were asked, so how was it? One said, it's humongous. Another said, no, it's not. It's actually very slender, very long, very hairy, if I may say so. So each of them had a very different experience of the elephant. Same is the case with India. It all depends on which gateway you choose to enter India. Because, your experience of India will hinge, will depend, will be predicated on which gateway you choose to enter India through. If you enter India through Hyderabad and Telangana, your experience will be very different than when you enter through, say, Uttar Pradesh. It's a very different experience because we work very differently. Our cultures are very different. Our thinking is very different. Some states are more progressive. Some states are more advanced. Some states are more adept at change. The point I'm trying to make, ladies and gentlemen, I know the story was a little longer than anticipated possibly, but this point I'm trying to make is, please choose your gateway wisely when you're investing in India. Because your experience, your memory or your opinion of India will actually hinge on the gateway you choose to invest through. Having said that, 2 years ago, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji had invited all of us to Delhi to talk about what we need to do to make India truly a first world country over the course of next 25 to 50 years. And from the government of Telangana, from my political party here, I represented the state of Telangana. Now I had only told him 3 things. I said, sir, if we really have to ensure India becomes a first world nation then we have to buy, subscribe and adhere to the 3I mantra. What are the 3 I's? The first I stands for innovation. The second I is infrastructure. The third I is inclusive growth. These 3 I's together will propel India truly into the orbit of growing nations, into the orbit of the first world countries. Now, before I elaborate further on the 3 I's, let me just quickly give you a snapshot of what my state has achieved over the last 8 years. Telangana is the youngest state in India. For those of you who are unfamiliar as to why this is the youngest state in India, the Constitution of India allows for the formation of new provinces, for the formation of new states, unlike some other countries. So as a result of a protracted struggle for decades, the state of Telangana came into being on the 2nd of June 2014. The capital city is Hyderabad, which is the 5th largest city in India and one of the fastest growing cities in India. If you look at the geographical size of Telangana, we are 12th largest in terms of geographical size among 28 Indian states. But if you look at population, we're 11th largest state in India. So by no means are we a small state. We are a mid-sized state. Now, what has Telangana done in the last 8 years which is remarkable? What makes it special among Indian states? The numbers will speak for themselves. The GSDP of Telangana, the gross state domestic product of Telangana, when the state was formed, was 5,06,000 crores. I don't know in dollar terms. I can't give you an exact number right now, but just to give you a percentage, I can. And about as of March 31st this year, the GSDP of Telangana is 11.55 lakh crores, almost 130% increase. The per capita income of Telangana was 1.24 lakh rupees back in 2014. As of March 31st this year, it is 2.8 lakh rupees. Just to give you a comparison, the average per capita of India as a nation is 1.49 lakh rupees. Telangana is almost double the per capita of India, the rest of national average. If you look at the expansion of agriculture in Telangana, because of the fact that we have taken it upon ourselves to construct some of the largest projects in the world. In fact, we have constructed in a very short span of time, about 4 years, the world's largest lift irrigation project in our state. That is the result why you see the irrigated land also has expanded from 62.5 lakh acres in 2014 to almost 1.36 crores or 136.9 lakh acres, which is almost double or even more in fact. Right now it's 119% to be precise. The IT exports of Telangana back in 2014-15 were at 66,000 crores and now they have risen by almost 248% to 1,83,000 crore. The installed power capacity of Telangana was about 9,470 megawatts, which now has almost doubled to 17,218 megawatts. These are some of the numbers. I'll get a bit deeper into it when we actually go into a discussion. We have grown in all sectors: the primary sector, the secondary sector, the tertiary sector. The primary sector, as you know, agriculture, we have grown at 9.1% in 2021-22, and the contribution has risen also from the agriculture sector from a mere 14% to 18.6%. My director food processing is here, Jayesh is of course here. Telangana is now in fact ushering in 5 different kinds of revolutions as we speak. Of course, green revolution, because you know the agriculture has expanded by 119%. We see immense production of paddy, cotton and a number of other agricultural produce that is ushering in green revolution. We are in fact a land of 46,000 lakes and tanks, and therefore government of Telangana has taken it as a challenge, as a priority to encourage inland fisheries. And Government of India has recognized us as a top state in inland fisheries, and which is ushering in a blue revolution. In fact, now we are at a stage, because of the newly built reservoirs and because of the rejuvenated tanks and lakes, we are at a stage where we can export fishes and prawns and shrimp from Telangana to United States and to Europe as well. We are also witnessing a strong white revolution. We have become one of the strongest states in dairy sector as well, because of government's focus and additional incentives that are being given to the dairy farmers. We are also, in fact, ushering in a pink revolution in meat processing, because in Telangana, livestock development has been taken as a task as well to improve rural livelihoods. As a result, the livestock, in fact, has doubled in Telangana, especially sheep has doubled in Telangana over the last 5 years. And Telangana also wants to ensure that the country does not remain dependent on imports for edible oil from Malaysia, from Indonesia. So therefore, we have started encouraging oil palm in a big way. Our target is ambitious: 20 lakh acres of oil palm cultivation over the next 5 years. And that will usher in, we believe, a yellow revolution, which will also help the rest of the nation. In terms of industrial growth, we are one of the most progressive, most dynamic, and most forward-thinking state in the country. Our growth rate is by far, the highest in the country at 20.2%. And the contribution of the industries sector is almost 29%, 28.6% to be precise. Those of you who do not know, or those of you who possibly are not aware, since we are not yet fully out of the pandemic, let me share with you. I don't know how many of you know this, but Telangana is home to 1/3 of global vaccine supply. We are the city where 1/3 of global vaccines are produced. I'm not talking India, I'm talking globe. Because, even COVID vaccines that came from India, the 2 COVID vaccines that are indigenous, have both come from Telangana. Serum Institute, of course, was manufacturing for AstraZeneca, so I don't count that as an indigenous vaccine. The 2 vaccines, Covaxin and Corbevax, both of them came from Hyderabad. To be precise, 9 billion doses of vaccine are produced per annum from Telangana. So that gives you a sense of what is going to happen. And recently, in fact, because of the Quad program, one of the large companies here called Biological Advance has signed up a deal, and they are expanding, which will take our vaccine production to almost 50% of the globe from one single state, and that is Telangana. Let me also give you another example about our strength in life sciences. The largest number of US FDA approved, but President Joe Biden's helicopter cabin is also made in Telangana. In fact, Sikorsky is the company which manufactures it. They manufacture in a joint venture with Tata Advanced Aerosystems Limited, and they manufacture it out of Telangana as well. And there's plenty of other things that are also going on. And I can even arrange for a tour so that you can get a look at some of the engines, the LEAP engines that are being manufactured, some of the world-class fighter jet empanages that are manufactured, some of the fuselage that is manufactured for helicopters such as Apache, all made in Telangana, all coming out of the city of Hyderabad. We are also a very, very strong player in electronics and IT. I'll talk about IT in a bit. Electronics as well. Today, 25% of the television sets that are produced in India come from Telangana. We have a very strong presence in electronics, but of course our ambition is larger. We want to be the Shenzhen of India. We want to ensure that Hyderabad becomes the hub for electronics in India, and we are making a lot of efforts in that direction. My director, semiconductors and electronics, is also here. He will be more than happy to share more details with you. Of course, we talked a bit about all the revolutions that are sweeping, as a result of agricultural expansion, which naturally, consequentially, lands in food processing and processed food production. Telangana, in fact, is the only state in India which has taken upon itself to set up what is called as Special Food Processing Zones of the state of Telangana, TSSFZ. Now, These special fruit processing zones are spread across different districts, spread across 10,000 acres of land, and are readily available for anybody who would want to come and invest in my state. The services sector, of course, has also been growing. I'll talk about it in a bit. Why did agriculture expand? I would say because of the initiatives of the government in terms of investments into irrigation, in terms of investments into welfare schemes such as Raitu Bandhu, which is a direct benefit transfer into farm input to the millions of farmers, ensuring the farmers, one of its kind in the world. The state directly insures every single farmer to the tune of almost 5 lakh rupees in case of a natural death as well. And of course, because of a very strong food processing policy, the sector has been growing. I can go on, but I think we'll move on. Next slide, please. We are, in fact, a powerhouse in information technology. We are home to more than 1,500 plus multinational companies. Just to give you a sense of what it is that I'm talking about, if you look at the brand names there, Google, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta, all of their second largest campuses in the world, anywhere in the world,